Hello, my name is Nick Wood. I'm a correspondent and presenter with radio and television. Now, I'm about to embark on quite an epic journey, starting here on the coast, around some of the 12 focal institutions or organisations in different countries, not all of them, that are supported by Scarda. I'm going to be asking a series of questions. What has Scarda, if anything, done for you? What impact is Scarda having on your people, your researchers, your scientists, your students, and perhaps most important, on farmers and people involved with agriculture in Africa? And knowing what you know about Scarda, where can this programme go in the future? And as I set off on my journey, let's set the scene on Scarda with two people who know the project very well, starting with FARA's Executive Director.
Scarda is aimed at promoting capacity strengthening. It's aimed at ensuring capacity management development in our institution, but we've selected focal institutions to address this particular problem. And it's because we note that Africa will not make progress if we do not have capable institutions, credible institutions that will promote capacity strengthening, to our young professionals, and that will come up with develop appropriate students, that will carry out meaningful work in the field. And Scarda is aimed at addressing these two issues.
Scarda, strengthening capacities for agricultural research and development in Africa, is a program that is meant to start a change process within our National Agricultural Research System, the NARS. Scarda is about change, and it's about a paradigm shift. It's about thinking and doing things differently. Scarda wanted to also strengthen the quality of research conduct within the NARS institutions, and then also to ensure that we establish the relevance of agricultural training in our tertiary institutions to the demand of industry. In Scarda, what we try to achieve is to provide tailor-made capacity strengthening packages that respond to critical capacity gaps that have been identified using sound institutional analysis of the institutions.
My journey starts in Ghana. It is the home of the FARA headquarters after all. And as I cross the borders of the different African countries, I thought it would be good to hear a little of that nation's local music while I set the scene.
So there are two issues there, isn't it? It must be deliberate. It is also targeted at policy makers, either to change policy or to...
Now, here in Kumasi, I've come to see the Crop Research Institute, but by coincidence, they're holding a workshop today. And part of the Scarda model is to work with service providers who will in turn work with organisations. In this case, the workshop is being run by one of those providers. And here we're talking about mentoring. There are two elements to mentoring. The mentoring of individuals, perhaps students, but in this case, we're talking about the mentoring of an organisation. Scarda's work also included a full institutional analysis of the organisation. This highlighted the fact that the 18 existing divisions were simply too many to make it competitive and able to generate the target of raising 30% of the budget it currently receives from the government. The mentoring programme also helped to clearly define the roles of departmental heads.
Through the institutional analysis, we were able to put some of the divisions together. And as I speak to you now, through the analysis and the training we've been having, it took us quite some time before people, accepted the change. But now I am happy to announce that we now have 10 divisions. And this, would make us more effective and efficient in doing, business here.
We scan them. This is for one person.
In the library of the Crops Research Institute, Laurencia Agbenyeke is a prime example of how Scarda has built a platform for improved support for research. When they assessed the organisation, there was no librarian, and they also pinpointed a shortfall in information delivery. So they funded Laurencia on a university librarianship course.
Information is the lifeline of the research institute like this. And somehow it will help the institute very well, because our information system is disorganized somehow before Scarda came in. So with this experience, I'm going to help to organize all the information, especially the information generated by the researchers in the institute.
So let's now go out in the fields where staff like Deputy Director Stella Enin, the Scarda Change Champion at the Institute, is proudly inspecting one of her own crops. She says there are clear examples of where change management and capacity building has helped to tackle a fundamental problem of attrition at the organisation.
Scarda came in to help us with the institutional analysis where the gaps were found, the gaps in our vision, and then in our attainment of our vision was found. And so one of the main gaps was this attrition and capacity building. And so through Scarda, we've been able to initiate the process of training some of our staff to fill in the major areas where we need staff. And one of the areas is the breeding program, especially in the maize program. We've had our maize staff doing so well that internationally they've been recognized and they've left the institute.
And in an adjacent field is an example of the work supporting that maize programme. It's about producing a blend of normal maize, which is high yielding, with QPM or quality protein maize, which is high in protein.
Here we have germplasm from the various programs from IIT and CIMIT. We are just observing.
Tengen Kubal Banoa was a technical officer on the maize programme, and Scarda's support for his retraining and research meant he was able to develop his work on the project that's so important to the Institute.
It's not just bulk, but quality. So we want to improve on this so that the farmers can improve on their yields and at the same time get the quality protein maize in it. The story of quality protein maize in Ghana is such that we really need it because it helps our women to wean their children, because you know our poor farmers are not able to provide protein for their needs. But the quality protein maize will help them to be able to at least increase or improve on their health standards.
Idea to continue.
And just to complete the picture in Kumasi and to extend the Scarda story beyond the borders of Ghana, Tengen completed his course at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in the city, where each of these students from the Gambia have just completed their thesis on a 2-year MSc course, paid for by Scarda, as part of a bid to build capacity in research across the African continent.
My vision is to become a renowned breeder and share knowledge and increase productivity so that we can be food self-sufficiency in our country.
And this concept of supporting MSc students has been repeated in other countries. These students from Sudan, Rwanda and Burundi are pictured on their courses at Uganda's Makerere University, which has one of the strongest plant breeding programs in the sub-region. In Kumasi, as with other workshops backed by Scarda, the events often involve people from the focal institutions working alongside people from other agricultural research organisations that form part of the national agricultural research systems. They call Lesotho the Kingdom of the Mountains. The government there has been promoting a shift from subsistence farming to small or medium-sized commercial farming. But there's been a poor record of collaboration in the past between the Ministry of Agriculture's Department of Research, farmers and Scarda's focal organisation, the University of Lesotho's Faculty of Agriculture. Now, though, all that is changing. Well, here in Lesotho, we're talking about farmer participation, and the farmers were gathered together in communities, consulted by the researchers and asked to vote on which area of agriculture they would like to see developed under the Scarda funding. And There are no prizes for guessing what they chose. This indigenous chicken project on a farm in the lowland area of Lesotho is a result of a new spirit of teamwork fostered between farmers and the agricultural research institutions, promoted by support from Scarda, and it's centred on an innovative technique of bringing together two breeds of chickens.
What we have here is a kwek chicken, a very prolific layer, but not such a good brooder to produce chicks. On this other runner, we have a little house for the indigenous chickens, which are found all over the villages of Lesotho. They are very good brooders. They can lay over up to 20 eggs and still produce chickens very effectively. So the idea is to mix the two. The indigenous chickens are also multiplying, but they also now are used to hatch, to brood and hatch the eggs for the kweks.
Scarda paid for the seed fund, which helped farmers to buy the chicks to start the test programme, and also for fencing and runs to house the chickens. Those involved are now being encouraged to pass on chicks to their neighbouring farmers to help to scale up the project.
These chickens are very good and they are very easy to keep. One of these kwek chickens gave me 18 chicks in one brooding. So they are very productive.
This is the tray where we put the eggs into the incubator.
A hatchery with an incubator is also being funded, and the programme is already showing that this kind of chicken production can create a sustainable income for the farmers involved.
This is also a learning for livelihoods for our children, because they observe this and they can take up chicken rearing also as a means of livelihood and as a way of making business.
The Farmer Participation Project is a prime example of an innovative system that brings together many different people and agencies in the Scarda countries. In the case of Lesotho, they've formed partnerships with the Ministries of Agriculture, Forestry and Land Reclamation, and Science and Technology, as well as NGOs, extension workers and the country's National Farmers Union. And the work there has been cited as an excellent model for other countries.